Oh, Zisinei, Africa and Zimbabwe, thank you so much. Ndozvo zvinoita kusangana zvakare pachirongwa cheDemen's Corner, chirongwa chatinokupaika musi wega wega wechina. It is my thanks to you guys for listening, because as I always tell you that without you guys there is no show, and if you guys are not listening, surely there will be no need for me to come and present the show. And also my thanks goes to the people that participate on the show, the panelists who make up their time to be here to share their thoughts on various topics that we dwell on this show. Thank you all. Right, a few announcements there. As you all know, Zimbabwe every year, I think for the past 13 years, tinenge tichikupaika chirongwa che top 100. There will be top 100 on the 1st of January. So it's not going to be different this year as well. It's going to be the same. But what we are asking you this year is for you to to tell us which tracks would you like to see in the top 100 of Azimnet Radio. All you got to do is download our mobile app, more cast your votes there. All you got to do is just jot if you've got 2 or 3 tracks that you feel that they deserve to be on the top 100. Please do so. Munongoti nyorera ipapo, and that will be that. Isusu kunoku kuma studios to compile toona dzinenge dzakanyatso ku request pane vanhu wakawanda, they will get into top 100. Totandaraka tichifarira goredzva on the 1st of January 2017. Right, on that note as well, we've got my podcast. For those of you who would like to go back and listen to any particular show that we've done here in the past, you can go there, and the dates are there as well. So mark the date kuti wanga uri musi wekuti wakaitwa topic yekuti that you want to rerun, or you didn't have a chance to listen to it. It's up to you. Zviripo ipapo pa app as well iroro. On top of that, isusu panapa tinasali arikuita basa guru. She's doing a wonderful job where she puts all these shows on YouTube as well. So if you go on YouTube, DJ Sodza, just type DJ and space and then Sodza on there, and all the shows will be there. Thank you so much. Right, we all saw what happened in America the other day. Something that was unexpected happened there, and I'm now told, actually there was a newspaper I was reading that nobody put a bet, but if you had put a bet, gambling and all that, we don't advocate for it, but just for argument's sake, there was a film yakanga irikupa, if you pay £5 for Leicester City to win the Premier League, and also for Britain to vote to leave the European Union, and also for Donald Trump to win the presidency of America, if you had paid £5, you would be £12 million richer today. I was shocked with that. I wish if I had put a £5 there, or probably maybe I wouldn't be coming on radio. I'll be enjoying with my wife and kids somewhere else, nice and sunny. Zvisinei, Africa and Zimbabwe, regaiti ndonyaya tinoda kutaura nezvayo nhasi panapa. Hatisi kutaura nyaya dzana Trump, but we just want to dwell on what happened in America there. Could that happen in Zimbabwe? A novice like myself, DJ Sodza, swept to power in Zimbabwe then, from nowhere, not even having a P or, from nowhere, from absolutely nowhere. And as rose to prominent there in Zimbabwe. I'm just going to contest the presidential election and get elected in Zimbabwe. Can you see that happening in Zimbabwe? If not, why not? Tongatoda kumboti timbonzwawo kuti imimi munoti okudi kwamuri ikoko. Regai tichingamidze vatinawo panhare apa. Sally, welcome to the show.
Good evening, DJ Sodza. Can you hear me?
Yes, very clearly. How are you there?
I'm very well, thank you. And how are you?
No, me, I'm fabulous. I'm fabulous to hear.
I am very, very good. Good evening, Wilbert. Good evening, Mukanya. And Sekuru, please wake up.
He will be with us shortly. Mukanya, how are you in Canada? Kune naro huko.
Nzowika furidza madziva munozvinzwa mene.
We love it. We love it, Mukanya. It's a pleasure to have. It's all right,
Vanhu vakachema.
I know. Anyway, Mukanya, thank you so much. Mukoma Wilbert, welcome to the show. Good evening to you.
Good evening to everybody. Good evening the rest of the people in Zimbabwe or wherever you are who are listening.
Thank you so much. Mukoma Benford, welcome. Tinofara kuri seiko. Would you like to speak up or sort out your setting there? Right. Okay. We can't hear you anyway. That's fine. Anyhow, I don't know. Sally, would you like to start?
Yeah, just hang on. Sekuru says he's calling and you're not answering.
Oh dear. Okay. No, it's his problem. Anyway, it's fine, Sally. What's your take on this, Sally? Do you think it will happen in Zimbabwe? In fact, were you one of those people who were shocked on Wednesday morning?
No. From when Trump denigrated the Mexicans and Muslims and building walls and everything, I said that he was going to win that election. You see, when you have somebody, number one, Donald Trump is a TV reality star, okay? So he knows exactly how to play to an audience. When he vomited out that Mexican hatred thing, okay, he was testing the ground. And when he got the reaction from the people that he did, okay, that was it. He knew exactly then how to play to a specific part of the population, through fear, through division, and through hatred. Okay, and that is whole campaign. Okay, belittling people, personally insulting them. I mean, really, really insulting them. And then he got on Clinton's case, okay, Hillary Clinton's case, and he knew that there was already a dissatisfaction with her, and he just played it. He's very, very media savvy. Okay, he knows exactly how to attract the crowd. Okay. To ever think that Donald Trump has spent even 5 seconds holding a conversation with a working class man is a joke. Okay. I mean, Donald Trump is begins and ends with Donald Trump. If he has to use somebody to get what he wants, or use a whole nation to get what he wants, that's what he'll do.
Yeah, but
And he'll
Sally,
promise you the sky.
okay,
Yeah.
Sally, would you see that happening in Zimbabwe? Can I take a bit of notes from
Yes.
Donald Trump and go and actually scare people in Zimbabwe and actually sweep to power?
At the moment, no.
Okay.
It has to be at a certain time. You would have to be known to the country. I mean, he's known to the country, he's known worldwide, okay, through The Apprentice. Okay. So I mean, he's not a stranger. He is known, he has an audience already, okay, that follow him. All right? And he's just taken a reality TV show and made it and put it into the real world. That's what he's done. And the time was right for him to do it. Okay? The white people in America were panic-stricken because they know that this is the last presidential vote that they have where they are in the kind of majority. Okay? The next presidential vote, there's a good chance that between the Hispanics, the Latinos, and the black people, the white people won't even feature. They'll be a minority. So he knew that. He knew that the country, a certain sector of the country, okay, that he could play to was dissatisfied. They'd lost jobs, all that kind of business, okay? They didn't like Obama for whatever reason, racial reason, whatever reason, okay? They didn't like him. So he knew exactly, once he threw that Mexican thing into the atmosphere, okay? Into the airwaves like that. He waited to see the reaction. He got that reaction, then he knew exactly where to go and how to play. And Zimbabwe at the moment, it might work, but it wouldn't be, you'd have to do, I think, more than hatred. You'd have to ride on another ticket. Okay? More unity, jobs, financial, getting the economy going, that sort of thing. That you would have to do in Zimbabwe. But it could be done. It could be done. You see, you have a depressed nation. When you have a depressed nation, you have an opening for these unknowns in the political world, not on the scene, but in the political world, you have a place for these unknowns. Hitler did the same, but he was pumping out the same vitriol that Trump was pumping out. Okay.
Okay. All right.
So it can happen.
It can happen. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Sekuru Maskara say. Taswera Maskara say go.
Kune chando kuno kukuru ende chifoni chinyu chamakatenga izvo chikuru chakuramba kuita kufona kuno chinongorira kwengwengwe hapana kudavira.
Yeah, no, Sekuru, I might really have to speak to you probably Musue Saturday. What it is your Skype. Kana wasikana wariko itai kuti wambokutarisirei. What it is Skype yenyu, it needs updating.
Ndodzima.
Yeah, what needs happening, Sekuru, is to delete the Skype that you've got in your PC, then you reinstate a newer version. That's what's need doing. sometimes it doesn't work like that. I've had to do it a couple of times as well myself. Sometimes it doesn't work like that, because why I'm saying that, Sekuru, it on my system here, it's telling me that this caller has got an outdated Skype. It needs to delete and download a newer one. So I can see it here. That's why you're having a slight problems there, Sekuru. No, you're all right. You're all right for today. You're all right for today. But I'm just telling you, that's where the problems are coming from. But anyway, whilst you're still there, isati yatitira mambara. Chibai mambo titaurira inini Sekuru, ndabvunza mubvunzo inini kuti it was a shock for some how Donald Trump managed to win the USA presidential election there. And actually with a landslide, if you'd like to say. The thing is, I'm just wondering here, can that sort of thing happen in Zimbabwe, where a mere novice in politics sweep to power there?
Zvakaitika kakawanda. Mugabe ndo unongozotuma masoja kuti asaningire chiti asagadzwawo mumambo.
Okay.
Tsvangirai wakangopinda wani.
No, but Tsvangirai anga business for some years. Tsvangirai Sekuru. This one is a guy who is coming from nowhere.
Iye Trump ari business for a very long time. Akapedza makore nemakore achingotuka Obama kuti akanga asingadi dipata, zvine kuti akanga asiri politics ba. He was in politics but asina chinzvimbo chinoonekera. Tinongotaura kuti tiri vanhu MDC.
Okay. So basically muri kuti mimi he was in there.
Ini ukazonzwa ndakuti I'm going to Trump Mugabe in 2018, unofunga kuti ndiye ndiri munowani wepolitics.
Aiwa, tinoti Sekuru kachiradza chemupolitics.
That's right. Ndo zvakaita Trump ari right, anga ari mupolitics kare saka vanhu vari surprised havazivi kuti zvii zviri kuitika. The second thing is havateereri. My Muzukuru Sali told them that this idiot is going to win this election because there are too many idiots in America. And we laughed at her.
So Sekuru, munoti Americans akanzwa muri kuti there are too many idiots, they will be happy with you. So you are saying kuti ku Zimbabwe hazvigoni kuitika because there are no idiots in Zimbabwe?
No, there are a lot of idiots. There is only one person who is missing, the one idiot that can tell them what they want to hear.
Also, we just want an idiot in Zimbabwe who will tell the Zimbabwean people what they would want to hear. Then they will be elected.
Yes.
Okay. So basically you are saying, Kuti, it is possible for this to happen in Zimbabwe right now?
It is very, very possible. And I can assure you that this man, if he was in Zimbabwe, he would not have won that election, because today, if you look at the numbers, if you crush the numbers, Clinton won a majority vote,
yes,
but he did not win the colleges.
Yes.
So yeah, she won the populace.
The majority that. Yeah.
She won the populace vote.
Yeah. So the popular vote went to Clinton, but she cannot take over government because colleges are divided in such a way that they give a certain number of seats in parliament, which depending on which state you have won. So that alone does not happen in Zimbabwe. So if you are no matter how well you do, you will not be able to win the presidency, because the president is not his constituency based.
Because what happens is now I'm told kuti actually kuerenga vanhu vakavhota wose Hillary Clinton akavhoterwa navanhu vakawanda. There were more people who voted for her, but because of the constituencies that she won, and the way they divide it in America there, she lost on the number of seats, right?
Yes, and the number of seats determine who becomes the president.
Okay, all right. That's fine, Sekuru. So you are saying that it is very possible for someone to come from nowhere and be president. Asina kumboita MP or nothing.
Asina kana kuZimbabwe Mugabe wakaita president asina kumboita MP.
Okay. Right. That's fine, Sekuru. Thank you so much for that. Mukanya ku America koma Jimmy Munayo Kanya, what did you make of all this?
Inini maonera ndakaita from day one. Ndakambo pakutanga I was really convinced that Hillary was not going to run. Saka nekufamba kwenguva ndobva ndazonzwa kuti akura ndikati kuna vanhu avaita homework yavo, she might win. But you see, there were a number of factors dzavasina kuona vakomana. In the first place, Obama akadefeata Hillary in 2008. Kuradza kuti Hillary agara akasina chi.
It's not popular.
Yeah, and very popular. He was certain constitution, but I don't think anga enough kuta win. And number two, murume wake uyu Bill Clinton ane crime bill yakaita 1997, which resulted in sending a lot of African youth kumajero. Saka agara vanga vanhu vaine, especially vanhu vechivanhu vanga vaine garage against the Clintons. Saka they thought they were gonna forgive him and Hillary. And the other thing, Hillary had certain form of entitlement yekuti sakazi kuti iye oita secretary of state otaka kunoisa private server kumba kwake. And I don't know kuti they didn't even play their game very well. Iye anga achiplan kuda kuzoita kurana, and yet the way she conducted herself as secretary of state was so bizarre. Saka and zvakaita futi kuiraki nekusyria zvikachireta ISIS. Saka maonero angu ndeyekuti they did not play their game very well.
So all right, Mukanya, ndoda kuti zviite relevant nenyika yedu yeZimbabwe. We personally, I don't quite care about what's happening in America, but it just intrigued me that we live in a world that where we've got social media, tinema television, tinema internet, and all that, and all the pundits were saying, how can a man just come out from a grave and take over as president of America? Has this happened before, that nobody that has been actually involved in politics take over like that and sweep to power? I'm now saying, Zimbabwe, Imi Mukanya, if you wake up tomorrow and say you want to run, can you possibly win?
Oh yeah, no. Plus, your media, they are lying because they are even lying before, because Donald Trump has been in politics for years. I just sponsor politicians, my Republicans. I told Aquari Kumbunda to say he has been a key sponsor financially. This guy has been involved in politics for years. Saka number ango zo exploit onya ekuti varungu, they are feeling also threatened and vulnerable, which is very soon they realize kuti vanyepero. Now ku Zimbabwe, Mugabe atina kumuziva very late on kunigiri mu armed struggle kawe akanga ari neutral, mazita anga aripo vaivana chitepo vana Leopold Takawira, vana Josiah Matokogara vese vaizikanwa way before. Nana even vana Nongo vana Mujuru, they were well known before Mugabe. Akanga ari one of the elite ake vari mukati umu, but isara kereka ngoti pop up ma 1975, 76, and then 77 ndo pakazotanga kungonyuka, and then makomuni dzakupambena komuni Robert Mugabe so forth, but haana kungotenga akadaro, akangonyuka from nowhere. Saka zvazvinoita nezvokuti vanhu vanoda kuti muZimbabwe zvamamiriro akaita zvekuti pakaitwa free and fair election, I can guarantee kuti none of the opposition or even Ngiri ZANU-PF will win. Munhu ari fresh. People always want change, and this is what people want. Something fresh, something unknown. When I hear zvinochera mukana muZimbabwe andidika urachobva kune zvichechi, unaye machechi anotanga kusumuka, vana magaya vangosumuka from nowhere, atoone zichechi rakapo aenda apa, uyo atoone zichechi rakaenda apa. People always want to look for something new and fresh and think vanhu vanyu and vane something to offer better than vanhu vanga varipo. That's what always people want.
Okay, Aiwa, thank you so much, Mukanya. We'll be back after this 2 seconds.
Make the whole world know about your business. Advertise with Zimnet Radio. Email marketing@zimnetradio.com.
Join DJ Sodza and his informative team live every Thursday at 9 p.m. UK time, discussing Zimbabwean politics.
Rwendo runo kumakwishu, vamwe ndo vakati wanyangira yaona, vamwe ndo kuti kugona mbavha kana muroi kumurongera. Zvino panapa hapana kunyangirwa, hapana muroi kana mbavha. Vatereri kupera kwegore rega rega tinokupai chitongwa top 100. Mugana wazaruka kuti muchitanga kuvhotera dzimbo dzamuri kuda kuti dzipinde muchirongwa ichi. Download Zimnet Radio mobile app kana kuenda pa website pedu muchitanga kuvhotera dzimbo dzamunoda. Haikona kuzokumbuka kana kamboka unodisa kasina kupinda mu top 100 gore rino.
Ndatenda zvangu. Aiwa, zvatakuita pana paZimbabwe regai tinzwewo kuna mukoma Benford namukoma Wilbert apo. Regai nditange nemi mukoma Benford. Mukoma Benford, murimo muAmerica omo. I know kuti imimi you had said that really do not win, but I'm just intrigued kuti imimi manzwa zvazviri kutaura wamwawo. What do you think this can happen in Zimbabwe?
maita basa DJ Sodza. I hope makundinzwa zviri nani iko zvinezvi.
Perfect now.
Okay, regai nditange ndichiti ndanzwa zvataurwa, but ndisati ndaenda kure kandi I'm disappointed nezvataura Sekuru.
Okay.
Sekuru cannot say kuti there are too many idiots in America, simply because people exercise their democratic right to choose a candidate of their own choice. We cannot say people are idiots for choosing the person they want. That is what democracy is, and that is what we fight for in Zimbabwe. Could people choose the munhu? That is the first point I want to make. The point I got on the Sekuru electoral college system, that is what the American Constitution says, and that is the system they use, and therefore there should not be comparison. Yoguti, if it was in Zimbabwe, Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. That is not relevant to the American system. We use the system, described when a constitution. So that is the first point. Point number two. I think I said it last week when people were saying Donald Trump is a businessman and he's not going to win. And I told people, why don't we wait just for 1 week and see what happens? Donald Trump has a realistic chance of winning. And this is exactly what happened. Mukanya ndakavauza, way back, Donald Trump is going to win. Because I'm here, I had sensed zvakanga zvichiitika. People projected Donald Trump as a racist right at the beginning. And what happened was most people did not want to be associated with Donald Trump openly. But inwardly, he was speaking what was resonating with the people. That is why even my police stars, that's why Vakarasika, they were now saying, no, we did not realize there were these silent supporters for Donald Trump. But I had noticed that. I even told people who cared to listen. So, call him whatever you want to call him. I think Donald Trump ran a very wise campaign. He had a very effective strategy. He was speaking to what the ordinary man in the street talks about. So that is the first point. And today I'm surprised that people are saying he had a lot of experience suddenly on this show. Last week I gave an example of Cyril Ramaphosa, and people said, okay, it's okay for Cyril Ramaphosa because he has always been in politics. People like Donald Trump have not been in politics, but today suddenly the panelists are saying he has been in politics for a long time. So this is the problem with the analysis that we do, not only on this show, but even for our country, Zimbabwe. We need to do the analysis objectively. Coming to your question, DJ Sodza, about the Zimbabwean situation, it is true that can happen. It almost happened, for example, in 2000. ZANU-PF got awakened up by the referendum. Okay? If that is like the referendum in 2000, MDC would have ambushed ZANU-PF and they would have won overwhelmingly. Right now, you know what the opposition needs to do? They need to learn and move on. Themba Muliswa has already done it. But it's going to awaken ZANU-PF. And right now they're strategizing. They've seen what has happened and the opposition is sleeping right now. So that is why ZANU-PF might not be removed by this kind of thing, because they always regroup, re-strategize, and they learn from their mistakes. And the opposition that we have does not seem to want to learn. So that is why I can say in the foreseeable 2 or 3 elections, it might not happen in Zimbabwe because the current opposition does not want to learn. Otherwise, yeah, I agree with you. Somebody can come in, and that is why I touched on last week about potential business people. One capacity of they can dislodge Mugabe, because the environment we have in Zimbabwe is conducive for change. And the trend that you are seeing the world over here in America is people want change. When people voted for the Brexit, whatever you want to call it, they wanted change. So that is the trend you find anywhere in the world. People are calling for change. The environment is conducive. It can also happen in Zimbabwe. But you have to learn as an opposition, and that is what is lacking in Zimbabwe.
So the opposition is sleeping in Zimbabwe, you say?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Mkoma Benford. There. Regarding pana Mkoma Wilbert.
Ningambopoa mzukuru ningambopoa umkana wokupindura mzukuru wako.
Ndiri kunzwa mabaika nakasekuru pindura izvi.
Ndoshamisika kudari kutsvaga mbiri yekuita politician through attacking me here kuti kudini. Ina ndamboti muAmerica mune maidiots. Ndati hamuteereri. Listen carefully, Benford. Ndati hamuteereri. Muzukuru wangu Sali told you last week kuti Donald Trump is going to win because there are so many idiots in America. I was quoting Sali.
And they are idiots.
They are not idiots. That is the point.
They are idiots, Benford.
But the point is not. I didn't argue if I put things out. The point is you are alleging that I said they are idiots. Ininda ngokota zvakataurwa ndati hamuteereri.
I heard it from you, Sekuru. Whoever said they are idiots is, that is wrong. They are not.
No, but you were saying you are disappointed with what I said. It's not what I said.
Okay.
It's what I said.
All right. Okay, no, it was just a point of correction there. So, Mugama Benford, actually, it was Sally who said there's lots of idiots, and she's standing by that.
And I'm saying they are not idiots. They are people who exercise their democratic right and choose the candidate they want. The problem is...
my idiots are going to exercise their democratic right.
In Sekuru, what gives anybody...
No, I'm asking, I'm going to answer the question straight. My idiots are going to exercise my democratic rights. Idiocy.
No. Why would you call them idiots in the first place?
Because
if you can't answer, just say I can't answer that. I'm gonna, if you say they can't, then I will show you what one of gonna kushita.
Let me explain. Benford, let me explain why I'm calling them idiots. Okay. Number one, his whole campaign was run on hatred, fear, and division. Those are the three things that he honed in on, and that is where he got his following from. Okay? That's number one. Number two, he degraded, insulted, attacked people, okay, publicly. I mean, the things that he said to people and about people, and then when he was confronted by the person, oh no, I didn't say that. Oh, I didn't say that. Okay? People excused that. Then he was caught degrading women, degrading them in the most disgusting, invasive,
there was a video,
personal way.
There was a video I saw, Sally. There was a video I saw. He was touching some, I don't know, but I saw a video where he was holding some, I cannot even say it on the show.
You know, and the woman, you see, this is when I realized exactly what idiots Americans are. Okay? The woman made excuses for him. That's just locker room talk. Locker room talk. If any man that I was connected to spoke like that about women, I tell you something, I'd beat him to death with his penis. That is disrespect, complete and utter, in the most personal, invasive way to a woman. And the women were excusing that. That's when I realized, as long as the man is white and he's talking about hatred and he's talking about division and he's talking about fear, okay, and he's white, the white woman would excuse anything.
Okay, but Sally, if I can behave that way and become the president of Zimbabwe, why shouldn't I do that?
Yeah.
Why shouldn't you?
Why shouldn't I, if I can do that?
Because
and to actually enhance my chance to lead Zimbabwe.
You are abusing people. You are abusing people at their weakest moments. Okay? At their most vulnerable moments.
Why are you thinking about them? Who you been for, dude? You was talking about sex parties, sex parties. I know the chief sex parties, whatever. Achiti changira imomki. Here you. As not Trump, I know those who don't know America. I see hypocrisy.
Seguru, you are going way back now.
Guys from MDC, Changurai misbehaved himself. He misbehaved himself badly. And you guys from MDC and all the other men made excuses for him.
What did Benford say about that? He said Changurai is an idiot. How can he be looking for power and then showing that behavior in public? But exactly. Trump and Americans, they are not idiots. They are doing it.
They are idiots in the highest.
Koma ubheti vambotaura kuda tinganzwa zvese
No, tatiri kuti timboclarify nyaya yema-idiots. Sally is standing by that for anyone who goes...
by it 1,000 million
times. I'm endorsing, I am supporting, I'm seconding Sally.
Okay.
How can people vote to war against Mexico? What are you
Now,
how can people vote to Muslim?
No, we'll wait and see.
If you are endorsing Sally, why manga mchiramba kuti muri kuti Americans are idiots?
Because I didn't say that before. It's now that I explained. I now agree with it.
Anyway, let him come out with talk.
That's fine. Mukoma Wilbeti, you have waited a long time there. What's your take on this? What's wrong with it if I use that rhetoric that Trump used to gain power in Zimbabwe? Is that conducive? Can I gain power in Zimbabwe behaving like that?
I don't think you will. For the simple reason that in Zimbabwe, even if the people decide that they want you, and they don't want anybody else who is presently in the system, ZANU-PF rigs elections. That is the fundamental difference between Zimbabwe and America. In America, Donald Trump got into power because the American people voted for him. Whether they did the right thing or they were wrong, that is part of the democratic process. We've got to accept. I think the argument there between Sekuru, Sally, and Benford, it makes sense. But the truth of the matter is, even in a democracy, people would make mistakes. So in this particular case, you may find that yes, even the majority can make a mistake. They may vote for the wrong person, and live to regret it for the next 4 years, or if not more. But the fact of the matter is, it was a free, fair, and credible election. And the vote that was counted, each one of them cast a one valid vote. Whereas in Zimbabwe, if you go there, and even if people vote for you, you will still lose, because in Zimbabwe the vote is not counted the same way. There are certain people who never votes, and there are others that
We've listened to better music. We have
where
seen
they
better
can
things. We've been to it all. Zimnet Radio, all the way.
Difference.
Right. There's someone who is sending me a message here as well. He's saying that DJ, I'm surprised with some of the people on the panel saying that a mere novice can sweep to power in Zimbabwe. It just cannot happen. Look at what happened in 2008, where elections took 6 weeks to be announced after being cooked. So, in short, DJ, this would not happen in Zimbabwe. You are kind of agreeing with that Munyoru Yokuti, that can happen in Zimbabwe for the mere fact that there's no democracy there.
I agree with that. No, that's because there's no free and fair elections.
Right. Okay. There's no free and fair election there. Now,
But can we say something, Panapa? I mean, I don't see where the problem is. In fact, I agree with Wilbert very much, because Sharutaura's name Soro. But the answer to the question is, can a novice contest elections and win them in Zimbabwe? The answer is yes.
Oh, the answer is yes.
Problem, but problem is, can he assume power? Can he assume power in Zimbabwe? That is a totally different ball game altogether. But a novice can contest Mugabe and win. We have seen him lose the elections before. But that is the issue that we will answer. If Makuta or Asekuti Kunema rigging, we all know that. All we are saying is given an election environment, whether it is in a rigged environment or whatever, can a novice compete against Mugabe? The answer is very clear, yes, and they win. But can he assume power? The answer is debatable.
All right. Debatable or a civic, it's a definite no.
No, debatable. It's debatable because it just depends on what kind of a novice he is. Because let's assume one of the army generals comes up and says, "I'm contesting Mugabe."
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Mugabe can stop him if he is announced the winner? Or if he says, "I won the election"?
That's what we don't know. But if it was someone like myself, Sekuru, who is not in the army.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But the army general is a novice in politics.
Yes. So you're saying it depends who that person might be.
Who that novice might be.
Okay. Right. Okay. Thank you so much for clarifying that, Sekuru. Tetewa mashoko masera seiku ku America. Tetewa mashoko muruti nzwaira.
Tiri right. Sorry, nankre yangu yanga ya loka pa mute. Tiri right. Mangati zvenyu.
Tinofara chose. Are you one of the people celebrating or actually in disgust there?
I don't know about disgust per se. Initially, it was shock.
It looks like Sally is in disgust here.
Yeah, disgust and shock, I suppose, out of Ukuti. Are people really doing this? And it's one thing. It has been interesting. I wonder Nana Wilbert, Vana Mkwashong Wilbert, Vashtaura. And then, coming from a perspective as a counselor, it's really sad. It's one of those moments where it hits you because where you'll be used to you are used to the dramas, you are used to people with double standards. And then these people are so used to being so honest, so truthful. And I think what hits home for most of Vanhu, we sit in a Muslim community, Somalis. So them being told that it's shocking to the system. It's sad. I run a group here, trans women, men and women who are transitioning from either kuba murume or mukadzi. So what it actually means for them. Let's not get into that.
Goodness me.
So it is really sad because for Variku transition, what it means by taking away Obamacare, it's like, oh, okay, fair enough. They are trying to obliterate what Obama did. But when it comes to the lay person, what it means is avachatora mahormones avo. Saka you were transitioning from a man to a woman. That means budzirese and so forth and so forth and so on. So it's really at a level iri personal. It's different from vanhu vari kutaura from a level of politics. Isusu we are dealing with it from one to one, munhu achiuya ogara, and then trying to process that. And also for people like me, it's difficult in the sense as an immigrant who has gone through the processes. But I've worked for years. I'm Mexican, in a family muno, and years, it's here. I could be deported by Nandosia. So I see it from a totally different perspective altogether. People shouldn't see America from what Jabano pa TV and judge it for that. America is very conservative. Lutherans really run the show. They've been really disturbed by what has been happening, especially because trans women. They've really been really angry by having a black man in the office and telling them what to do. it doesn't matter how good what he has been trying to do, but the very fact that he's a black man, and now really saying it to our faces, but we are going to obliterate everything that man has stood for. That's sad, because most of us really celebrated the fact that as a black person you can achieve so much. So it's a sad day. Whilst people are comparing it and saying, oh, he can say this and he can do that, that's neither here nor there. What it really says is they hated the fact that a black man was sitting in the White House and a white woman is coming, a white woman, remembering that these are Lutherans, is coming to taurira further and then preserving this humiliation of having a black man in a white house. It's not a black house. So it's interesting and nice to listen to people vashtaura from a very superficial level. But when you scratch beneath the surface, this is really a sad, sad moment. I watched my elections with 5 children because of my teenage daughter. So I had 2 Mexicans, 1 Somali, and 1 Hmong from Vietnam, and my daughter, obviously. So there were 5. What was really sad was having these 5 children saying, are we going to be deported? What does that mean for us? Where do we stand? So does that mean white people hate us? So I'm not a spring chicken. I'll be 50 very soon. I thought I had seen it all, heard it all, but this is an earthquake, so to speak.
Tete Mashoko, it's very interesting. I mean, I thought about this yesterday, and I thought maybe it might be seen as being naive for us to talk about this, but it has hit home a lot of people. And one of my cousins in Zimbabwe was asking me, so what is going to happen to our dollar here? And also someone was saying, could maybe dollar is tumbling pama stock exchange. For those people who know, it might be better for people who are working in Europe, pounds, euros, to send money home, dollar and all that. It is going to hit people, isn't it, a little bit what has happened in America there?
Not really. So during the election, so like I'm saying, around about 9 o'clock, I was monitoring between internet and watching TV. So initially, yes, it did. I think initially it fell by 500, then to 900. Then today, it was sad to actually see the markets were kind of like saying, well, he's a businessman, blah, blah, blah. We know the truth of the matter. He is a white man. Milana can't speak English for a breakfast. And yet they are forgiving her. They love her. They are saying she's the Jackie Onassis, the next Jackie Onassis, blah, blah, blah. The market is going to stabilize within, I think, 2 weeks to a month. We would have forgotten about all this because what all this symbolizes, no matter what anybody will say, this is what people have been saying. He is white. He is whiter than white. That's why he only abuses white, blonde, tall, 6 feet women. Aryan blood. Those who know about the KK, what they stand for, what my German and my Russian stand for. He is of pure blood, which is what they wanted. Now let me, before I go, or something. I did post something, and I don't know but they won't say they liked it, whatever. So I have a cousin who actually works within the county, Anushandam State. But she sits near Maprisa. So usually, vanongomirira in danger. Saka, she was sitting behind the computer, and Maprisa, my chef, Maprisa, were talking about Trump. So this is about 6-7 months ago. And they start talking Dijo, especially by Mexicans, and Chichi should go back in the right hands, and that's what they mean by make America greater again. That's what it means, where a white man is dominant. hanzi pandakasumuka sezvino ifoni yakabharira kuti tiende kubasa. So when she stood up, so my wife akamira in a group, varume, magiants, hanzi nobody betted an eyelid kuti, oh, so we said, you heard this, we are apologetic and this is a workplace. People started by the end of, towards my elections, my white people were saying it outright. Mungave ma hospitals, batoshanda, mungava pai. They were like, ndikuvotera Trump. I like him. I really like him. And tombo kunzwisisai kumachechi vanhu vaiva motikari dzine ma-stickers. So those people who say, well, they didn't see it coming, we were in denial. That's all we can say. People were in denial. Nobody can really outright say they didn't see it coming. That's a lie.
Okay.
You are right.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Teto Mashoko. Zimbabwe, it's 2 minutes after the hour of 11. Tiri paZimnet Radio tikutaurawo zvedu isusu nenyaya yekuwina kwakaita Donald Trump ma-elections ku-USA, and also listening to what rhetoric he was saying during the campaign, and saying that really we don't want any immigrants, and if you are a Muslim you will not be allowed to come to America, and all that kind of thing, and all the videos that he was abusing women and all that. And in any, I came up with the topic, Nasugut, right? Can someone from nowhere swept to power as in angasimum politics? You know, like what we know is, you know, those people who grow up in politics, people like Hillary Clinton that have been in there for 30 years, 20 years, 10 years, whatever. Normally, those are the people who runs and win elections. But what has happened to Donald Trump now? But I'm told now, Nana Sekurukuti, he has been in there, but on the background of things. But anyway, I didn't think that he was on the forefront of politics of America. He just came up, and for him to sweep to power. Can this happen in Zimbabwe? That was what I was saying. But people are just saying what they feel about what happened in America there. Now, ndauti ndibopinda mchitoro ndabva imomo ndauti ndinzwe kuna wamoyo vachangomuka kubva kuAmerica wachine hopefully ndio wachine pfungwa dzazorora dziri kubva ungomuka right now. Watiudzawo kuti wanofungei nyaya iri pano.
The hottest DJ mixing the beats. Mixing the beats. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. You are listening to DJ Sodza live on Zimnet Radio.
Join DJ Sodza and his informative team live every Thursday,
especially the gay community. They're crying,
discussing Zimbabwean politics.
We have listened to better music. We have seen better things. We've been through it all. Zimnet Radio all the way.
Rwendo runo kumakwisho vamwe ndo vakati wanyangira yaona vamwe ndokuti kugona mbavha kana muroyi kumurongera. Zvino panapa hapana kunyangirwa, hapana muroyi kana mbavha. Vateereri kupera kwegore rega rega tinokupai chitongwa top 100 mugana wazarwa kuti muchitanga kuvhotera dzimbo dzamuri kuda kuti dzipinde muchirongwa ichi. Download Zimnet Radio mobile app kana kuenda pa website pedu muchitanga kuvhotera dzimbo dzamunoda. Haikona kuzokumbuka kana kamboka unodisa kasina kupinda mu top 100 gore rino.
Make the whole world know about your business. Advertise with Zimnet Radio. Email marketing@zimnetradio.com.
Zvakaoma. I think kumwe kune kwakuchembera vanoti zvinhu zvazvakuitika panapa. ndakangana kuprisa mamwe mabhatani kuno kumastudio Zimbabwe. I apologize for that. Kune wanzwa zvakutaurwa background. Right. At least you have had. At least you can. You have had the scenes that will be happening on the background. Kuno. Now, Vamoyo, thank you so much for joining in. I'm sure you've been listening to what people have been saying, and you understand what I want to talk about. Did you see that coming, Zvakaitika ku America, and can you see that happening in Zimbabwe, and Mugabe handing over power to a mere novice?
Yes, that can happen.
Right.
Very easily. I think what we need to know is Zimbabwe is a country.
Sorry, Vamoyo, endelea zvingine.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yanga responde yangu yakana kuti yadambo kana kuti
I think kuno kwaita mambara.
Oh, okay.
Endelea zvingine. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, I was saying Zimbabwe is a constitutional democracy.
Oh, okay.
And yes, that is what will happen. The only problem there would be if you compare the issue between Hillary and Donald, like what other people have already pointed out, Donald was very clear in terms of his policies, be it wrong or right, but he made pronouncements. He articulated what he intends to do. I don't think any one of these people here can tell us what Hillary told him. I think she wasted too much time attacking Donald instead of articulating her own policy. And this is the same problem, this is the same predicament that we have in Zimbabwe. If you look at our opposition today in all their shreds and tatters, the only thing they have is anti-Mugabe. That's all. And beyond that, what is it that they are offering? Abana, there's nothing else more beyond just anti-Mugabe. So if they expect to galvanize support, it will be in the form of renting their hatred from Mugabe to their supporters and hope that will carry them the day. This has been their downfall ever since, and to this day that is their problem. So unless they come up with sound policies that will appeal to the people, these people will always be perennial second best to the status quo. So, yeah, they can cry and they cry, but there's absolutely no point. So they should actually copy from the American setup, where it's a matter of policy articulation, which matters, and not just hatred of an individual. I think if you look at Obama and McCain, it was exactly the same thing. McCain did not articulate more of his own policies. He was maybe attacking Obama, while Obama was trying to put forward what he was going to do, although he didn't do much of it. But there was there was a vast difference between their approach to their appeal to the electorate. Somebody had something to say and something to promise, and the electorate had something to look forward to, whereas the opponent was merely busy attacking the other one, hoping that will actually carry the day for them. And even if you look at Clinton versus Obama, you remember that at one time they were antagonists when they were fighting for the Democratic nominee. You remember? Hillary was also busy attacking Obama, and while Obama was articulating policies. So unless our own opposition learn this, these people are doomed. But Zimbabwe being a constitutional democracy, yes, if anybody wins, then they should assume power. In right now, we have been winning, but they've never told us when they ever won, and they've never given us the evidence. No, after we won, and then this what happened, this what happened. No, they never told us. So it is just an assumption that they are running along with no evidence to back it up, and therefore that cannot stand. This is why people have ignored them for quite a long time.
Now, Vamoyo, so imeme muri kunitaura kuti mubvunzo wandabvunza uri very simple. So you are saying kuti Zimbabwe it's a lawful country, it's a democratic country. If I were to win an election tomorrow, Mugabe would be happy to hand over power to me without any quarrels.
No, he has no option. I mean, he has no option. He has to do that.
Okay.
Because that is what the law says. But only with no one has ever won the power to this day. And I mean, this is why we have this status quo.
Aiwa. Thank you so much, Wamoyo, for that. It's very interesting to hear your thoughts. Sally, you want to add something there from what Wamoyo has just been saying?
Yes, I don't think you listened to the same election stuff that I did to do with America, because Clinton spent hours talking about policies and what she was going to do and everything. Donald Trump, the only thing we know about Donald Trump is that he's going to deport all the Mexicans, stop the Muslims from getting in, change Obamacare, and build a wall.
And lock up Hillary Clinton.
Oh yes, and lock up Hillary.
Yeah.
His policies he never ever spoke about. If he was asked about them, he would change it on to some rant about Clinton and some, I don't know, some Mexican dude from somewhere and some Muslim from another place and a woman that he was going to grab, and nobody knows what policies Trump has. Okay? When they asked him, okay, you're going to, what are you going to replace Obamacare with? He talked about opening up the borders of the counties to the insurance companies. That was it. Okay? So, what he's going to place Obamacare with? Your thing is as good as mine. Okay? Clinton spent hours saying this and saying that and explaining policies and wada and everything, okay? It wasn't the fact that she didn't explain. Everybody knew what she was going to do. The fact was that she, from the beginning, she should never ever have put her name into the hat to run for the presidency. She had too many scandals going on. She's got too much bad history. Okay. She should have stayed out of it, and she should have got behind. I mean, I don't like him because he's old. Okay. But he appealed to the young generation, and it seemed to be across races and all lines. Okay. It was old Bernie Sanders. He was an outsider. He was an outsider in the sense that he was running his own campaign, not from politics. He was a political guy, but he's always been fighting against the system. And the people know him for that. So they liked him because he was an outsider. People were looking for an outsider that wasn't embedded into the system. The Clintons are embedded into the system. Okay.
Right. Okay.
So that was the problem.
So,
not that Clinton didn't say what she was going to do. She spent hours. I got so bored.
So, Sally, if I were to go to Zimbabwe now and say, right, guys, you're gonna love Zimbabwe, we're gonna keep winning, and we're gonna win and win and win. We're gonna build a wall on bait pressure. All South Africans, while Zimbabwe, we're gonna take them out. Every Muslim who wants to come to Zimbabwe will not be allowed to come to Zimbabwe until we found what the hell is happening with them, right? And we're gonna lock up Robert Mugabe. As soon as I get into power, we're gonna lock him up.
It wouldn't work.
Wamoyo, could I not win? Ndichitaura zvakadai.
Yeah, again, it exposes the folly of opposition in Zimbabwe. That is copying and pasting. What works for the United States, what appeals to the United States population, we are looking at two totally different scenarios. So what are the expectations of a Zimbabwean and the expectations of an American? These are two different scenarios. In fact, when you're looking at some of Donald's policies that he actually pronounced, in addition to undoing Obama, some of Obama things and Obama policies, he was actually saying he was going to revive the American economy. And he said part of his problem, part of the American problem, has been that business has been going to China and Japan. And he was saying he was going to reverse that trend. Meaning, the prospect of actually raising, although it may not be true, it may not be because America has no money today. That's why they were raising the debt ceiling and all that. But here we are looking at somebody who was just going with the populist policies to appeal to the population by at least making a promise. So if we start copying and pasting, it would be akin to a situation where maybe murupfura mukomasodza murubva kubasa mukuenda kumba mopfura nekupawa mona mumwe murume achizvambaradza mudzimai wake imomhanya kumba kunosvambaradzwa mudzimai wenyu nokuti maona mumwe achirova wake. I mean, such copying and pasting does not really work very well. Nokuti hamuzive kuti kozva ari kurwirei vakanganisirana chii and vada kuti zvifambe sei. Saka, it doesn't work. We need to look at our own situation as it is. So far, the only thing that is clear about Zimbabwean opposition is their hatred to Mugabe. Beyond that, hapana. Even the so-called coalitions and what they are but the only glue that is sticking them together is hatred to Mugabe. And there is nothing else. So this is their problem, which they need to solve. They need to come up with sound policies. Even if you look at the 2013 election, then this was promising Jews. How do you go in Kozumba? How to explain that? And the rhetoric on the Democrats, the Democrats good government. How to explain that to the ordinary men on the street? They are good bread and butter issues. What we are in the Democrats. I mean, to me, that's utter madness.
Okay.
So this idea of copying and pasting does not work. We need to look at our own situation.
Yeah, no.
in that perspective.
Okay, no, Vamoyo, I was just joking there actually. Mukoma,
No, Mukoma.
Yeah.
Mukoma, sorry, just a little bit. I knew that you were joking. I know you very well. You were joking. But that actually is a representative. What I was saying is a true reflection and representative of Zimbabwean opposition politics. So I actually merely took advantage to address them in that scope. But in your own perspective, I know very well. And remember, I was talking of Zimbabwean opposition, and you have always told us, Mimi, you are neutral. So I was talking of Zimbabwean opposition.
All right. I don't
know that Mama from that context.
No, and I want from that corner anyway. Thanks very much, Vamoy. And Skuzoti, Mukoma Benford, have you got anything else to say there?
Yeah, let me say a few things, DJ Sodza.
Please do.
I think one thing, when people are listening from news, very different parts of the world, you have an understanding which might not necessarily be correct, particularly with what will be happening on the ground. Americans are idiots to start with. Now, when you talk to these people, you realize that they are not idiots. If you follow the patterns, wakanga support Donald Trump, most of them have cinema college degrees. In other words, my concerns are different from somebody who has a college degree. So there are certain things that would attract them to a candidacy, Donald Trump, rather than my issues of Ndruku or not. I was talking to this other lady in a couple of weeks back in the Muzimai. So, but she said, I'm not going to vote for Hillary, even though I'm eager to turn a women president, because as far as I'm concerned, the most important issue is about jobs. And I'm looking at those two candidates, and I'm weighing who can provide job opportunities to America. And she said, I think Donald Trump has a better chance of creating more jobs for America, and that's why I'm voting for him. So before people start labeling, these people, you have to understand them from their own perspectives. When we talk of Muslims coming to America, you should realize it's an issue of ordinary Americans. They are worried about terrorism. They don't understand a lot about Islam, because America is largely a Christian country. So they are terrified by that. And when Donald Trump makes a statement like that, you might think it's stupid, but that resonates with them.
Yes, I know it does. That's why I call them idiots.
And every nation, whenever concerns are, and that is what matters to them. Just coming on a different note, if you want to build a wall between Zimbabwe, war for South Africa, you obviously lose an election, because that is the only hope. For Zimbabwe, they have to say, we are going to create several bridges, not just the Limpopo border post there. That is what is going to make you win elections in Zimbabwe.
But listen, guys. On a very serious note here, I've got two. They're saying that they're very concerned with this race card that a lot of Western countries are using to win power and win things. And he's mentioned what happened in the Brexit in the UK. It was a racism card that was used, and they won it. And Donald Trump took that racist card and even invited Nigel Farage, who ran a racist campaign for Brexit and won it. And they knew they were going to win it. They are playing on people's minds. And what Tim Koma Benford have said about people with no degrees and all that, these are the people that are furious. That one, wakaita Simwana Mkoma Benford, Murkuya kwa America, you are taking our jobs. So people have to be very careful of what this trend is going to be. Now we are told Kutanzi in France as well, they've started. Anyone anongobuda ne card with a race card is going to win any election now in Europe and in Western countries. And we don't know where we are going from here. And I'm actually very concerned about that as well, to be honest with you.
Yeah, can I say something?
Yeah.
That Brexit thing, when they got down to the bottom line of that Brexit thing, okay, I mean a couple of days afterwards, all right, that Brexit thing wasn't even, the people were voting against immigrants. It wasn't immigrants that were coming from outside Europe. It was the people inside, the Ukrainians, the Slovakians, the Portuguese, the Spanish.
Yes.
That's what they didn't want. Now, because I have got plenty of people in the UK that are whites, okay, that come from Spain, that come from Portugal, that come from France, all that are now crying because they don't know. The one woman is an Italian. She has been there for 30 years. And she is pooing herself. This thing is not only against different colors. This thing is against people of the same color, but you are not
one of them.
A citizen of that. You are not one of them.
Yes.
You don't abide by their
Absolutely.
narrow set of biblical archaic rules. Okay?
Yeah.
And this is the problem. And Benford, the reason that I call, listen, I don't have a college degree. You know what I've got? A Form 4 Levers, College of Preceptors. I was the last class in 1972 to write what they called the College of Preceptors. I don't have college, I don't have university, I don't have nothing except nursing. Okay?
Yes.
The problem is, I live in Africa where we are taught. You ask question after question after question, you never stop learning and you never stop discovering. America thinks they are the best at everything, and they have the internet there at fantastic prices and everything else. They don't even know what Google is.
Yeah.
And I know this because I've had to teach Americans how to use Google. Okay? It is stupidity, arrogance, and at the base of that arrogance is ignorance. And now the rest of the world
if I can,
is in trouble.
Right. Okay, Sally, let Benford answer that.
Okay. One thing, the reason I mentioned about college degrees and stuff like that is because if you look at what was happening during economic problems, these people were affected differently. When college degrees, they were never affected that much. It hit hard for college degrees. Detroit, the closer down, industries that closer. Those are the people who were most affected. So that is why my concerns are wakadal. Now coming back to something that Teteo Mashoko mentioned, which I think going forward is very, very important to realize. There's going to be my issues, my communities in America, because now reality will set in to say this was not just Donald Trump talking, but this is what my communities at Syria now feel about us. So, and those are genuine concerns. Silently. But now that it's in the open, the issue is how is Donald Trump's leadership going to try to bridge some of these my effects and rally everybody together. And I think they started to do that. And the US, someone like Obama is also helping him do that by saying, let's put America first, and then everything will come second. And this way, at times I agree now more, because when it comes to a country like Zimbabwe, you find after an election, whoever has won, maybe the opposition has lost. We don't pull things together as one. We remain pulling, on our side. The opposition, and yet after all, the reality is ZANU-PF will be in power for the next 5 years. So those are some of the lessons we need to learn, as a country, as Zimbabweans. Whatever happens during an election, once it's over, we pull together. And this is what I can foresee happening in America. Irrespective of, I get calls when I phone, are you okay? I'm okay. Nothing's going to happen to me. Americans are not that much divisive and idiotic that they will start to attack other people, simply because a politician has told them to do so. So the dust will settle down, and Donald Trump's president, I can make this prediction here. I don't think it's going to be as bad as people think. In fact, I think Donald Trump's president will turn out to be a very good decision that the American people have done.
Now I've got something to
no. Please hold on. Ndinombonzwa kuna mukoma Wilbert hasn't said anything. But anyway, mukoma Wilbert musati mataura. Regai timbopinda muchitoro back after this.
Make the whole world know about your business. Advertise with Zimnet Radio. Email marketing@zimnetradio.com.
Join DJ Sodza. And his informative team. Live every Thursday at 9 p.m. UK time. Discussing Zimbabwean politics.
We have listened to better music. We have seen better things. We've been to it all. Zimnet Radio all the way.
Rwendo runo kumakwisho, vamwe ndo vakati wanyangira yaona, vamwe ndo kuti kugona mbavha kana muroi kumurongera. Zvino panapa hapana kunyangirwa, hapana muroi kana mbavha. Vatereri kupera kwegore rega rega tinokupai chitongwa top 100. Mukana wazarwa kuti muchitanga kuvhotera dzimbo dzamuri kuda kuti dzipinde muchirongwa ichi. Download Zimnet Radio mobile app kana kuenda pa website pedu muchitanga kuvhotera dzimbo dzamunoda. Haikona kuzokumbuka kana kamboka unodisa kasina kupinda mu top 100 gore rino.
Zvisinei tavatabata pane vamwe vachangotibata hapo kuamerica uko maswera seiko.
DJ Sodza, Rudy.
Kuri seiko kumbanasi.
Good right.
Are you one of those people celebrating there or in commiserations there?
I'm not celebrating. I'm so much commiseration as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But anyhow,
the reality of the ground.
You must have thought of wanting to share something with us by calling us here.
Yes. I wanted to respond to the, funny comment I made about there's nothing here about Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Being president. in Angu, being in the US, my fear is the fact of the things that are going to do. The promises he made. Like he said he was going to deport 11 million illegal immigrants. And so I don't see any way he's going to shift from that. Because that's how he. And so he is going to try to execute one of the if not most of the promises he made. So, and then the other thing that I have fear for is this guy was endorsed by the KKK, which historically is known as a group that lynched and killed black people or people of African origin. So these guys endorsed Donald Trump, and now he's president. I imagine they have a sense of confidence. You know what? Now we have space to come out again and possibly do the things that were done in the past. So I fear for those things. Because, this country, people travel, interstate, visiting family and friends. There's so much, some of these highways, you get off the highway, you want to put some fuel, some petrol. Who knows where these guys are? They see you're black, it's at night. Who knows what's going to happen? So there is a genuine sense of fear amongst us, especially minority demographics. I don't necessarily agree that he is going to be better, or he's going to turn out to be better. To the contrary, I don't agree with that, because he said these things. He said them. That was his election manifesto. How does he deviate from that? I don't see how, because if he doesn't execute, in 4 years' time he'll be out of office. Because, guys, this is not a joke. There are white Americans who want power as it was back in the day. Yes. They are there. This is no joke. And for Trump to win, it shows the genuine desire by those people. Sarah, the thing about it is, as black people, and this also applies to us as Africans in general, we have to get more organized. We have to start building our own communities, our own world, so that we don't depend on these people who do not like us at all. And it's not all of them, but there's a significant majority who do not like people of black color and people of African origin. That's what this election has said. And in my opinion, this was a protest vote. And saying when they say we want America back, they're just not saying, because the economy is doing well. Unemployment rate is at 4%. But interest rates have been at record low. The economy is doing well. People are buying houses. The housing market is booming again. So what greatness are you talking about? Now it's white greatness. That's what they're talking about.
Mukoma, I've had a lot of people writing to me, and personally, from what I saw from the Brexit vote here, Mukoma, I work in a public place, right? And I work with these white people, and the issue was, we don't want these foreign people in our country. That was the issue. Yes. Nothing at all was on stake. That was the issue. So when Donald Trump come out and say, we're gonna deport these people, we're not gonna allow them in our country and all that, I can see the trend here in the West, that we might come here and say, it's all good, but I don't feel very safe with how things are going, to be fair, to be honest.
Yes, and that's my feeling being here in the U.S. I can't be naive and just say, oh no, America is going to be okay, nothing is going to happen. Maybe I'm going to be okay, but not all black people or people of minorities are going to be okay. So by virtue of that, I can't just isolate myself and just say, I'll be fine. Look, there have been black people killed, being shot dead throughout this election. Is this country really okay? I don't think so.
No.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Okay. Sorry, one more. handisi kuziva regai ndibodza kuna mukanya wangotibata apa ndisi kuziva kuti mukanya wafona maybe he's got something to say. Mukanya, you came back there. Is there anything you want to add or subtract?
Benford achiripo.
Yes.
Pandabva ndambwena Benford appeared to be very angry. I don't know, for some reason. Why was Benford angry? When those were called idiots. Those are idiots because I understand of an idiot is somebody who does the same thing again and expect it's different result. White supremacy and domination is not a new thing. It was done during the time of slavery. It was done. I don't know whether you read the history of Andrew Jackson, one of the American presidents, how he killed the natives like nobody's business around Florida and there. And also it was done by Hitler. So I don't know whether Benford is a student of history or he writes his own history. And every time you see when people feel a little bit threatened, they go to some extreme to try and suppress other people. We saw the things happening in Matabeleland. It's nothing new. So only fools would accept what Donald Trump was telling them because he was lying to them and they know it. The guy is immoral, the guy, and yet all those evangelical Christians were coming and supporting him, and the guy is not going to bring those factories back, and the guy is not going to reverse the trends. The guy is just a buffoon, and only buffoon voted for him. Buffoon. So I don't understand.
Imagine evangelicals supporting a man like that.
Yeah,
exactly.
That is appalling. We've got Pastor K Waneti's gospel panapa. He said last week, he said he's very concerned before. He said, I cannot put myself to understand why those evangelical people are coming out and say they are supporting him. And he was saying that really the world is going to the end. He is a man of God.
You know, Donald Trump
has always been used to colonize our land. Sorry.
He talks bad things about women, he describes women as all these things. Why would anybody think that person is normal? And I'm really, really disappointed with Benford if he doesn't think those people are.
He's been in the USA too long, Mukanya. That's the problem.
Benford, would you like to?
That's so true because what happened, at least to me, it teaches me, at least within the Zimbabwean community, to be proud of your national heritage. Because sometimes as Zimbabweans and other African nationals, we assimilate way too much into the American culture.
No, that's Mikuma Wilbert. This thing of national origin, this is man-created. We shouldn't get the idea here is not about national origin. It's about the domination of some few people who want power and resources. If God did not even create this Zimbabwe, we just go and call Zimbabwe. This United States, we just call. You see, the idea is people want to be divided by nations, by race, by all these things. This is what's creating all this problem. It's not a matter of identity. These people are just bad. That's what they are.
Okay, right. Mukanya.
They have been there all the time. But the Republicans and the Democrats managed to keep a lid on them. David Duke, who was the grand wizard of the KKK at one time, he went into politics under a Republican ticket and he tried to get in. Okay? So these guys that Donald Trump appealed to have always been there. There are millions of them. They have always been there.
Can I say something?
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Mashoko, you want to say something?
Yeah. Ndandichida kuti, you know what, having said and done everything, sezvikutaurwa nevanhu vese, you know, there are times when we phone in and we are hard on mukosho wangu madzibaba moyo, and it's not personally kuti we hate him. It's because people like him are holding and enabling my dictators who are making us all suffer. At the end of the day, it's also in Africa. Why are we here in the first place? We have all the resources. I mean, every mineral comes from Africa. Why are we here? Why aren't we developing? There's only, I think, one country that does that, Botswana. Botswana, if you go to Manchester, there's a village, Manchester Village University, University of Manchester University. There's a village, Garama Matswana, sponsored by the Botswana government. Vachidzokera back kunyika kwavo.
Hakuna maBotswana people kuno, hakuna.
Havagare and havazvizivi. And when we have my enablers vakaita sana semadzibaba moyo and so forth, people who swear blind kuti ZANU-PF is right, and then vanhu vachisafa vachitreatwa, do you know, being treated like a second class, not even second class, but third class, because that's how I'm feeling in Nini today. No matter how much I'm paying my taxes, I'm working every day, 8 to 5, I'm grinding, I'm hustling, I'm doing my bit, but I'm unwanted. My color, the color of my skin is determining.
DJ Sodza, I think when we get that way, I understand the feeling. But the issue is not about color. The issue is there are a group of bad people, and this could be in any part of any color. You get the point? We have ruthless, ZANU-PF people who are ruthless, who are as black as you can get it. The issue is about a group of people who have certain ideas against other people.
Okay.
And those people, they manipulate.
Right.
Regai
chimbonzwa kuna wamoyo mkanya. Wamoyo taura izvi.
Thank you, finally. When people talk of racism, it's not an issue between the white and the black community only. Even in the white community, there are many layers of racism there. So racism will still apply. You can even look at the amount of hatred that goes on between the Americans and the Russians, and the Americans and the Chinese. And it's a very long topic. So when you talk of race, it's not the black and white only. That is one thing. The other thing that I wanted to highlight, the Kuna Teta or Teta Mashop and Deputy, like I have always said, I do not would want to throw punches on women. Saga, you have all the democratic right and the freedom to say as you please until you are satisfied. So at no time will I actually respond in a way of attacking you. I can only respond in a way of correcting and advising, but not attack. But you are at liberty to attack as much as you like. Although I've never at any point said ZANU-PF is right. I've only looked at issues of policies and what is going well and what is not going well. So you could go to Ningai right and Ningai wrong, show your own personal conclusion, and you're entitled to that. And then the other thing I wanted to look at, I think it was Nkomata Sadwa, is the fear that they have and the insecurity that they have. It also brings to the open an issue. You could the talk of democracy and human rights is a fallacy. It's quite shocking that we hear some of the people running about the democracy and human rights. If Nkomata Sadwa is scared, it means democracy is pohere. Because when you look at it, it's democracy is the right to do what? And Nkomata Sadwa feels that those rights have been withdrawn. Saka democracy is pohere. And when you talk of this abuse of other people, when you talk of human rights, what exactly are we talking about? Which humans and which rights? And if these people can do this in their own backyard, how much can they do when they come to our own backyard? So when they come to us and we be friends, is this a kiss from a cobra or a hug from a lion? What are we looking at here? These are some of the things that we need to look at very critically. Could the issue of copying and testing and how should we treat it? When we copy and test, are we not supposed to edit the text here and change some of the words to make it suitable to our own situation? Unfortunately, the opposition we have, they simply swallow hook, line, and sinker with no thinking whatsoever. This is the
Can I
problem
just
that
say
I have
something?
with
Yes or no?
them.
Right. Okay. Vamwele gaiwa mkoma Wilbert wambuta mkoma Wilbert, go ahead.
I think the problem with our friend Moyo is that forget America, look at our own situation. You know, we are all Zimbabweans, we are talking of a country we know. We have lived there, we speak to people on a daily basis there. You are the only one or one of the few who comes on this panel and try to convince everybody that Mugabe has been winning elections because he has got policies. You are refusing to accept that he has been rigging elections. He has been using violence. People have been beaten. Some people like the brothers who have been killed. You know, the violence, there's no peer. Why are you denying that? That is the problem. We are all in foreign countries now because ZANU-PF has run down the economy to the point where millions have had to leave the country just to get some bread. And yet Zimbabwe is a rich country, like Tito Amashoko is trying to say there. You know, we are failing to run our own country. Let's look at Zimbabwe. Are you accepting there's been failure by ZANU-PF to run free, fair, and credible elections? That is the question.
Right. Vamoyo ndandoda kuti vamukanya ndandoda kuti Vamoyo wapindure zvawabvunzwa izvi.
Ndada kuvabatsira ipapa papoindi manaenda kutaura vasati vapindura.
Okay.
Vamoyo. Kana vanhu vachitaura yes what? Kana munhu achinovhota kuti anopinda mubox because of racism, because anovenga vanhu because of their color. It could be Zimbabwe. Mugabe, when he comes, he also talks of racism from another angle. Now, the challenge here, T9, we don't think in terms of economics or whatever, but the Americans, most of Americans were voting because it was not economic, it was just racism, right? And when Mugabe is going to preach to the Zimbabweans, sometimes people just vote. They are not talking about those white people who were brutalizing the system, but they are now talking of individuals. That's where the problem I have about this world.
Okay. Okay. Vamoyo mungada kupindura here?
Yeah, I don't think pana vamukanya pani chekupindura because his was a statement.
Oh, okay.
I will go kuna mkoma vabvunza. Kunzi, how come I'm the only one who doesn't see? I don't think I am the only one. I don't think so. If you go to Zimbabwe, there are millions and millions of people who see things the way they see them. In the second place, Mkoma I must believe. And the only reason I must believe is because he has told me. And he is taking it like his word is ultimate and final. Some of us is also were visual. I have been saying this since 2018. Could you give us the evidence? The elections were rigged. Show us the evidence. And in any case, if we were to go deeper into that, if there is anybody who rigged the election, the evidence points to the MDC having rigged the election in the first place. I have said this, I think this is the 60th time I have made this statement, and no one has ever dared to challenge it because it is true. I believe very strongly that if there is any rigging that took place, the MDC is the one that is rigged the election to get the 31% that they actually got.
Did MDC rig the 2008 elections?
Sorry?
Did MDC rig the 2008 elections?
In the first place, 2008 is history. But before we even go there...
It's history, but did they rig the elections?
No, I hadn't finished.
DJ Sodza, can I say something?
The other portion I wanted to respond concerning the 2008 elections was, in fact, that was not MDC success. It was a result of internal fight within ZANU-PF itself. And it was the Bora Msango that benefited the MDC. It's like, am I wepa next door? Vanoenda kuna baba wepa next door, onita chifambi papo, achida urwadzi samurume wavo. It's not with she loves the
Moyo, just answer the question once. Don't give a long story. Just answer yes or no. Did MDC rig the 2008 elections?
Depending on, okay, no, yes and no.
Depending on what?
Yes, because they actually had the majority in parliament. No, because they did not win the presidential election.
Well,
so if you remember, information we have, that's what it is.
Let me just point out something to you, Moyo, which you seem to be forgetting. In this particular case, even in SADC, we had my election observers in Zimbabwe, in AU, they say that 2008 elections were not free and fair. That's why Mugabe was forced to go into the GNU. And you keep insisting it was fair and fair.
No. Yeah, no, sir. It's you who is saying that. What did they say? They didn't say that. They said that the election was not conclusive. They never said it was not free and fair. Yeah. And if we fast forward to 2018, they said the election were free and fairly fair. And they were a true reflection of the people's will.
Other people observed them. Why were they not conclusive?
Yeah, because the constitution said they were supposed to be run off in the presidential election. And then that did not take place. Morgan Tsvangirai withdrew. And then that was not conclusive.
No. That wasn't the reason why SADC said they were not conclusive. They said they were not free and fair because there was violence. If you want to rewrite history, you can rewrite it, but don't try to pretend that your history is the correct one. You know, this is SADC, AU. They all said those elections were not free and fair. And this is what people on this panel, on this Nankiri side, are finding very difficult to accept with you, Moyo. You do not want
if the election was not credible, they could not have opted for a government of national unity. They could have opted for a rerun. I mean, that is common sense. That's the normal thing to do. Nobody ever talked of a rerun.
Last statement.
Right, guys, time dzedu panapa tichabvumiri. Mukoma Benford mudautaura kuti kudii because whether it was rigged or not, that can go all year. Atisina time. Taurai zvenyu.
The conversation atiri kuita towards the end of this show, I think that is the main problem yatinayo as Zimbabweans and how we look at other people. I'm surprised that people would find my views our Moyo would want a problem now. Why should that be a problem? That's his views.
I wonder.
This is what leads to us labeling other people as idiots because they simply do not. My views I agree.
No.
To realize that people have different opinions.
Yeah, but Mukoma Benford, really, wouldn't you sympathize nemunhu anofamba achindobata mabody parts ewakadzi zvisina kururama? Would you say munhu akati iye munhu ari kubata wakadzi zvakadaro in this day and age is an idiot? Would you sympathize nemunhu iye?
Okay, I can give an example. Wouldn't you equally describe somebody who impregnates a 20-year-old girl and does not even have the courtesy yokutora someone wacho birth certificate and that person wants to be the president of the opposition party, wouldn't you call that person an idiot?
Okay, all right.
The president of the country, not of opposition party. He wanted to be the president.
That is exactly what Sangrai did. So, in my view, when I look at anybody who is supporting MDC, I'm like, these guys are idiots.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying in my mind. But it's not my right. There's other reasons why they're supporting him. And this is the same. And Wamoyo, I respect Wamoyo's views. That is opinion. And I'm surprised that people will say the problem in Wamoyo is the only one.
No, Bedford, what you have got problems with Iwewe, you cannot distinguish between facts and opinion.
Listen,
we are talking of
you guys are like a bunch of John Ways.
You know,
you put Moyo in the mix, and all of you come running out, and you've got to squash Moyo. Seriously, Moyo antagonizes people on purpose.
No.
Okay, and every time you run to squash Moyo, he loves it. That is, you know, when Moyo says something, walk away from it. Carry on talking about what we were talking about, because otherwise you end up in this mess every single time. And it's always you men. You can't walk away. It always ends up with us talking about what Moyo said, Moyo is never going to change, except that.
Yeah, the only problem
Stop trying to make him change.
Sally,
He's
the
not,
only
you
problem...
can throw facts at him until the sun rises when it should be setting, until the moon comes down and turns into a Mercedes Benz. Moyo's not going to change.
Yeah, but the only problem with people like Moyoka, Sally, is that we have got to realize that there are many more other Moyos out there. And as a country, if we want to move forward, we have got to realize that those people cannot be given...
You've got to learn to deal with people like Moyo. And the way that you deal with people like Moyo is not right. Okay? Because it's not going to change them. They just dig their heels in more. Okay? And it turns into a big bombastic argument. People start insulting each other and everything. For what? At the end of the day, for what? Who wins? No one. And the people in Zimbabwe certainly don't. So, learn to deal with people like Moyo. Because if you learn to deal with people like Moyo, you're a winner.
Okay, right. On that note, we'll end here, Zimbabwe. We will have some more discussions next week on the show. My thanks to everyone who have called in, and also for you at home listening. Have a wonderful weekend, and we shall see you next week. Bye-bye.
We have listened to better music. We have seen better things. We've been to it all. Zimnet Radio, all the way.
ananjere masingafunze vamwe ananjere mazano marairanwa kune vamwe mazano marairanwa kune vamwe usarasike usacheuke usarasike usacheuke usaite somukadzi wanoti wakacheuka usaite somukadzi wanoti